Hello. Hello. Hopefully you can hear me all right from back there. I'm going to read Modelland by Tyra Banks. Again, I'm not gonna make of it. I actually like Top Model. I enjoy it, even though I'm aware that the producers manipulate the girls and the editors manipulate the story, but I just like balmy fashion. And they had a promo for this on one of the series, and it just sounds like campy nonsense. So I'm quite looking forward to reading it and seeing how balmy it really is. So let's just see if everything's working. Yeah, we seem to be streaming. Creative retreat. So, or is that chat? Is that someone? Bring on the campy nonsense. Oh, we shall. Don't you worry. Let's see how weird this gets. Okay. As far as I'm aware, it's supposed to be a fantasy, but set around the idea of, I don't know, like some land where there's models or something. Oh, you've got me. It sounded a bit like I don't know, some sort of 80s fantasy sort of thing. Okay. Oh, this bit's in italics. You want to be there. You know you do. Don't lie, darling. It's okay. I know what you're thinking when you look up at that splendorous place atop the mountain. I know what fills you, spurs you on, fuels your dreams. You're obsessed with being chosen. Everyone is. Yes, it's true. The land you thirst for has loomed at the top of the mountain in Metopia for as long as you can remember. But for most of the year, it's covered in fog, its colour changing with each passing day, as if it's a gargantuan mood ring. You begin your morning staring at the fog, longing for the fateful evening when it will turn a golden yellow, and then, finally, like a push-up brassiere, lift. Oh, how you long for that moment with bated, fresh breath, I hope. We don't want any of your stinky mouths here. Hang on. Do you think she had a ghostwriter or wrote it herself? Do you know, actually, I was wondering that today. I'm not sure. I think it's possible she had a ghostwriter. I don't know. She's got like a talk show and does all these things. So probably I'd say, you know, apologies if you didn't, Tyra, not that you'll be watching this. For it signifies that the luminescent eye will soon blaze in the sky, bathing the whole world in gold, touching every one of its inhabitants, including you. But, darling, it is no ordinary golden light. Once it tickles you, you are suddenly transported. You hear the softest of sighs or faintest of giggles in your ear. Even if you're standing alone, the once stale air around you becomes both sweet and tart, making your nose tingle and sending a surge of excitement through your brain. The finest silk, the softest velveteen, or the supplest suede will brush your skin, but whatever you thought was touching you is nowhere to be seen. Phantom toucher in Modelland. Basking in the light is such a naughty tease, like getting a single lick of the most delicious butter pecan gelato you've ever tasted. It inflames your obsession, increasing your desire 100-fold. You lust to go to this land to become one of the only famous people in the world. You ache to be a seven. I don't know how to pronounce this. Seven, but in front of the S is an actual seven. Seven. Many sevens. Oh. No. They've not been to Florence, clearly. I know. Florence has definitely got the best gelato, hands down. Where was I? 7. You ache to be a 7. I'll move it here so you can see me. But very few ever get the chance. See, this is controversially why I prefer ebooks, because they're much told. And now I've got to put this somewhere when I finish with it. Nevertheless, you and every young girl in the world vie for an opportunity on the day of discovery. Oh, I see. It's America's Next Top Model, but fantasy. A fantasy version. Okay.
I thought that the America's Top Model was a fantasy version.
Well, I mean, yeah, it is. We know it's not reality, but it's like even more ridiculous in a fun way. That's it. Oh my God, she's got smize in here. I'll explain. Day of Discovery, which is grander than every global holiday combined, making the delirium even more intense. The land sends 7 talismans called smizes into the world. Right, okay, I'm sad enough that I know this. A smize is Tyra's thing for a smile with your eyes.
Funny what you pick up when you're flicking through the channels, isn't it, Maddie?
I love Top Model. I make no secret of this. Oh. You know I watch it all the time. Yeah, Raven's pulling faces
you
at me now.
You won't catch me watching daytime.
No, it's not daytime.
Not daytime.
Yeah.
What are they called? Docu.
Double fantasy. I know. I always smize. I know. I try and smize, given the opportunity. I don't get much opportunity, but I do try. Where was I? Okay. 7 talismans called smizes into the world. What an arcane world. Who thought of such a thing? These smizes, which boost your odds of being chosen by 91%, are propelled through the world's waterways. What? Naturally, the week before the day of discovery, bathing, showering, pool use, and even sewer diving increase, threatening a drought. Drought? Yeah. Sewer diving. I don't understand that sentence. The week before the day of discovery, bathing, showering, pool use. Oh, right, okay. Chance meetings erupt into fisticuffs on occasion. Every girl wants to find a smize, darling. That's how it's spelled. DAHLING. But not nearly as much as you do. You ignore the slim odds and disregard the warnings you've heard since birth, like how it's easier to grow 3 inches in a month than it is to score a spot in the newest class. You turn a deaf ear to the cautionary tales whispered in your hometown. That's comfy. And throughout Metopia, in dingy alleys and side streets of pitter-patter, that's capital P, during shift changes in Shivera, and on assembly lines of Peppertown factories. Like the rumour that the school often takes inhumane and irreversible disciplinary action, or that certain disposable civilian girls are brought to the land to be tortured and then killed, used as human sacrifices for ungodly experiments and animalistic rituals. Oh, might be more exciting than I initially thought. It's obvious why they torture them, the gossip mongers whisper. Those in the land bathe in civilian blood to maintain their breathtaking beauty. Goodness, great shoes. A literal bloodbath, darling. That crimson elixir must leave a nasty ring around the tub. And then there's the reality of the Pilgrim Plague. a form of sadness meets madness that compels unselected hopefuls to embark dadless on an unauthorized pilgrimage to the land. They only allow you in if you have a dad. It's a sickness that comes with a quickness and afflicts the most determined and desperate. And the trek through the dangerous, diabolical divide always ends in dismembering death. Ouch. That's what it says. As the day of discovery dawns, however, you and every young girl around the world tune out the horrifying negatives and concentrate on the glitzy, gaudy, dream come true positive. You dredge up every ounce of self-confidence from deep within. This is my year, you say to yourself, and so does every other girl. They'll choose me for sure. Every girl feels the same way, except one. Tuki de la Creme. The main character's name, I take it? Tuki de la Creme. Oh my god. Yes, it's sounds surprisingly dark. Yes, I know. Yeah, I think it could be fun. It sounds like it could be batshit insane as well. Spell it. What? Tuki de la Creme. Tookie. Next word DE. Next LA. And then creme, like CREME. Chapter 1. Have you ever seen her? The girl whose face not even the meanest person you know would describe as yuck, but who you'd never in a million, no, a trillion years describe as alluring either. Okay.
Oh, it's a book by Tyra Banks.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, I kind of get it now.
What did you think it was?
Some fantasy kind of fiction.
Well, like a published fan fiction sort of thing.
Yeah, some Bizarro. No, not as good as Bizarro.
Yeah, the girl whose eyes are 3 centimeters too wide. No, 3 centimeters too far apart, and whose mouth is 4 centimeters too wide. Not that you'd break out a ruler, but when you look at her, it's enough to make you say that something is definitely off. Now, apparently you are a more interesting looking model if you look a bit weird, which I guess is true.
Yeah.
So, come on now, you've seen her. Ha ha ha. Yeah. She's the girl whose hair has multiple personality disorder and can't decide if it's supposed to be quasi-curly, silky straight, frantic frizzy, or wet and wavy, or maybe a power to the people fro. The girl whose body is a contradiction of itself, a slightly hunched back from years of poor posture, one must presume, feet the size of snowshoes, and stick-figure arms and legs so fragile, you think you hear them screaming, "Feed me an entire grilled cow now." 4 centimeters too wide, not that weird. It's kind of weird, but yeah.
4 centimeters is a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot, yeah. The girl with the humongous punch bowl sized head. What is this deformed person she's describing? With a forehead that goes on and on and on. I'm getting really weird visions of this person now as this like Quasimodo-esque person with with a runway forehead and like just big twigs for arms. Making her look like the weight of her cranium will topple her over and break her into 1,000 pieces. That's what I'm saying. Oh yeah, that's what he's saying. It is a lot. And not only is her clothing painfully mismatched, so are her eyes, darling. You heard me right. She has one green eye and one brown one. Have you ever seen Tuki La Creme? De La Creme, sorry. I bet you have. Maybe you've even met her. You just don't remember her. No one ever does. For as unusual looking as she was, Tuki was a forgetter girl, one of the most forgettable girls in the entire world. But maybe not for long. Our tale begins. It's not italics anymore. That's over. Right. That's what I'm saying. 4 centimeters is huge. Yeah, I think maybe it was a little overdone. I would never forget that. No, you would. You would. What is this? Okay. Our tale begins on a Thursday afternoon, the most ordinary of ordinary afternoons, a few days shy of the most unordinary day of the entire year. I need my tea. Sorry.
This is like we're kind of peering into her psyche, and it's actually quite scary.
It is quite scary, but I don't know. It's kind of creative as well. I feel, I mean, it's balmy. Don't get me wrong.
You got to remember that I kind of popped in like
Yeah.
mid-flow, so I actually, I don't get certain references from maybe a few pages back or anything like that.
Yeah. Oh. There's not really much to get so far. It's just like apparently there's some place on top of a mountain where 7 girls are chosen each year to go up, which is basically the plot of America's Next Top Model, but like more fantastical, obviously.
Like a Greek thing.
Yeah, kind of, yes. Tuki de la Creme was splayed on her back on the hallway floor of her school. I swear to God, this is what it says. The Bangle, Bauble and Bead Institute. What am I doing? B3, as it was commonly called. Yeah, her large, mismatched eyes didn't blink as she stared at the stained ceiling. Her gangly legs shot out at odd angles. This is crazy. This is like some kind of Lego woman, as though she'd fallen from a 6-story building. Her enormous feet pointed straight up. An internal clock counted down the time in perfect cadence. T minus 6 minutes and 49 seconds. 48, 47. As Tuki waited, she lifted to her face a cold canister of whipped cream. I'm surprised she could lift her face. It sounds massive. Inserting the nozzle straight into her mouth. She pressed the trigger that delivered the airy sweetness directly onto her tongue. It sounds a bit fetishistic, or is that just me? Still waters run deep. A bit fetishistic. Possibly. I don't know. Maybe.
I didn't get that impression, but I haven't listened from the start. So.
No, I don't know. I just think she really likes her program. I don't know. A bit of cream. Oh, do you mean the cream? Oh, I get you. Yeah, the cream. A bit of cream accidentally dropped from her mouth and dripped from her chin to her neck. With each squirt, okay, yeah. With each squirt, more and more of the cream fell to her snug-fitting, hand-me-up blue blouse, which had once been her younger sister's. Another squirt landed in her hair. Okay, yeah, I see. Blood, cream, splayed legs, yeah. Okay, fair enough. Oh. Chug.
It's a soup bowl of tea you've got there.
A strong drink for the madness. Okay. Yeah, younger sisters. Another squirt landed in her hair. She then licked her tiny baby fingers from thumb to pinky and prepared for the next squirt. How was Tookie able to lie in the middle of her school's hallway during class time, enjoying whipped cream from the can, and not get herself into any trouble? Well, Tookie was the Institute's best skipper. Oh, well, pardonnez-moi, that was not what I intended. No one, not even the most cunning teachers, noticed she was gone when she skipped out of class way before most of her lessons ended. Dolly! Bill's telling me off in the chat. It just came out. I didn't mean it. T minus 4 minutes, 33 seconds, 32, 31. As Tookie stretched her legs, the backs of her calves touched the bitingly cold marble, making her shiver. Most people would have found it uncomfortable, but Tookie was happy she felt something. At least she was still alive and breathing. Sometimes Tookie was so used to being a forgetter girl that she thought she really was invisible. T minus 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2. Greetings, not sure not sure how much I can listen in, but woohoo for sleepover reads. I know, I'm in my literary Alice in Wonderland pajamas. I've got whatever this is. I mean, I'm enjoying it. It's completely balmy, but yeah, we'll see. Sometimes, oh yeah, I read that. A loud but familiar clanging made Tookie jump. The school's bell was actually an old-time buzzer that had long ago signalled factory shift changes. In days gone by, before the Institute had taken over the building, B3 had produced 3 things: bangles, baubles, and beads. You don't say. Once the bell stopped, a familiar rumbling made Tookie cringe. An oily belch followed, sending a thick cloud of greenish smoke through the vents. Yeah. A stench filled the air. It smelled like a mix of gasoline, mould, melted plastic, and methane gas emanating from the bowels of the building. That is like Bill after a night on the beer. And you know what I mean, Bill. Excruciatingly loud school bells weren't the only relics left over from when B3 had been a factory. The administration had done very little in the way of renovation to convert the safety code deficient building into a proper institute of learning. The school let out belches and eruptions all day and leaked fumes from every crevice. That does not sound safe. Sounds like they're having a gas leak and they ought to get out. Bill says, haha. Groaning, the students emerged from their classrooms. Ugh, Ariella Bertona, I assume that's how that said. Ariella Bertona wailed, fanning the odours from her face. Nasty, Tatiana Sharon said, pressing a sachet of dried flowers to her nose. JD, I wonder if a school could pick its nose. Bill says they're making crystal meth. I think they must be, God knows. You think they put some air fresheners up or something? The B4 Institute tooted again, Jason Milano chortled, trotting out the school's oldest, tiredest, but aptest joke. Yeah, he's a card. Everyone called the school B4 for bile, bath, belches, and butt bombs.
As you would.
Yeah. I don't think it just stinks. I think that's the... What have we walked into? Oh, hello, Angie. I don't know what you've walked into. Bill said it is me, the earlier stinky reference. Well, I mean, I don't know what you've... Butt bombs would make that B5. She's kind of tried to get away with it by putting the words together. But we know your game, Myra. Okay, so I'm reading Modelland by Tyra Banks, Angie, and it's very strange, but quite entertaining. More doors were flung open, and the sound of footsteps thundered through the halls. Tookie quickly closed her eyes. She then peeked to see just how far the approaching mob was from her prone body. 9 feet away, she estimated. The conversations of passers-by began to wash over her. Tookie felt like a fly on the wall. Oh, pardon me, it's my phone. Sarpessa says she is spending 50,000 on her prep, said an annoyed female voice over Tookie's head. Hag. What do you think the look will be at T-Dodd this year? A girl with a forehead tattoo whined. I don't understand what's happening anymore. Andy says, thanks. I joined at Crevices. It's a good place as any, to be honest. I don't think I know what's happening anymore, and I'm reading it, so I don't know. I hope my tatted face will be in. Oh, they're talking about this place where they're going. Don't hold your breath, Inky, a male voice answered. Another voice floated over from the other side of the corridor. If they don't choose me, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. I'll die if I end up working in a belt buckle factory like my mum. I've been crying for a month straight. I hope my eyes aren't going to stay all puffy like this. Many of the conversations had to do with the big event that was taking place in 2 days, the Day of Discovery, which most people shortened to T-Dodd. Tookie has a mouth 4 centimetres wider than normal, apparently, Tria. Yeah. It's just her description. Shortened to T-Dodd. Pardon me. It was the grandest of holidays, and B3 was even letting its students have Friday off this week to prepare. An absolute rarity. Not that Tookie really cared. Where do you think the rest of them will be this year? A girl with a nasal voice asked. I heard that a girl found one in a pot of boiling sweet potatoes and burned up her hands real bad trying to get it. I don't understand. Is this like Harry Potter now? Next top model and Harry Potter. Tookie shifted on the floor. Now they were talking about smizes. Girls, these are these mystical things I think they have to find. I don't know. Girls had been searching for the magical charms for days, fighting at water spigots, sloshing through sewers, splashing in the Peppertown pool, which everyone knew kids peed in. Okay. I found the pipe where the gunk water from the Chivera hospital dumps out, a hopeful girl whispered. No one is going to be looking for smizes there. As more people passed, as more girls chattered about T-Dodd, Tookie began to feel lonelier and lonelier. It was yet another day when no one, not a single person, looked down on the floor and cried, "Oh, check out that girl down there." Why is she down on the floor then? All the students rushed past Tookie like water in a stream, flowing around a rock. Rubber sneakers almost crushed her fingers. Heavy boots nearly bumped her shins. A piece of paper fluttered out of someone's notebook and landed close to Tookie's left hand. The paper's owner, a dark-haired girl, bent down to snatch it, not even noticing that Tookie was there. It's a fundamental... Oh, God, she mentioned smizing, a fundamental theme. Yes, she's managed to work smizing into some area of magic. So, well done, I guess. Yeah, I read that page. Irrelevant, expendable, forgettable. All Tookie wanted was for someone to notice her. Anyone. Just a simple kick in the ribs, or a sneaker sole that squished her hand, or no one notices her with a mouth that's 4 centimeters wide or whatever it was. It's a fun, yeah. I don't know how people aren't noticing this girl. Just open your mouth. Yeah, your massive, massive mouth. Spin, thud, spin, thud, spin, 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 thud. Tookie looked up at a spinning dervish approaching, taking in her long, thick, curly, wheat blonde hair, her silver dollar-sized aqua eyes, and her perfectly symmetrical face. It was as if Tookie's wish had come true, sort of. For here was her sister, Miracle, Myrracle. Someone who did notice her. Except, well, Tookie didn't really want her to. Spotting Tookie sprawled on the floor, Miracle began to sing. You are not my nay. You are not my nay. I don't know. She gave one spin for each word, making the hem of her blue dress flutter. It was a dress, Tookie guessed, that would pass to her as a hand-me-up in a matter of days. Tookie rolled her eyes at her sister's mispronunciation of DNA. Oh. Beyond her looks and fancy flights of footwork, what was most disturbing to Tookie about the Miracle, as Tookie's mother called her, was not that she was Tookie's younger sister. The most disturbing fact was that the Miracle was distinctly, indisputably, flat-out dense. Dollar-sized eyes. I know. I guess so. Dense. As dumb as a lobotomized turkey, and turkeys were said to raise their heads to the sky during rainstorms and drown themselves. That doesn't actually happen, does it? Does anyone know if that does happen? I've heard it before, but it doesn't seem like something that would make any sense to really happen. I don't know. Tookie tried to give her sister the benefit of the doubt. Miracle had memorized every intricate dance step of the 22 verses of the Shavira Shuffle, after all, and at least she understood the concept of DNA, even if she got the pronunciation wrong. But in all honesty, Miracle wasn't the brightest tube of lipstick in the makeup caddy. Luckily, Miracle pirouetted out of sight immediately. Problem gone for now, so she span in and span out, I guess. Tookie sighed and reached for a small, thick yellow book wedged under her lower back. It wasn't just any regular yellow, but the colour of a taxi cab that had been freshly painted and spit polished. And it wasn't just any regular book, but a collection of letters Tookie had written to people she'd encountered throughout her life. Not that she would ever dare send them. She called this book, oh my God, she called this book T-Mail Jail. Tookie found it ironic that the book's initials TMJ also stood, do you think that's based on Tyra Mail, the letters that the girls get? Lol, false claim, T-Mail. Yeah, I think it's like literally the letter T. And I know that in the programme they get Tyra Mail, which tells them what they're going to be doing. Yeah, I know these things. I watch it. I don't care. Quick update. Had to pop to the loo. Thanks. That's nice. And it could be that though TMJ is a condition, Angie just says, "Oh my God." I don't know what it is yet. Tookie found it ironic that the book's initials, TMJ, also stood for an ailment. Oh, yeah. It's an ailment. That impaired a person's ability to open her mouth. The front cover, that's weird. The front cover displayed Tookie's first name, handwritten in beautiful calligraphy. The spine of T-Mail Jail read, "Don't keep out." The back cover urged, "Invade my privacy, please." This is like the Tyra Mail thing. Oh my God, this is what happens in it. If one were inclined to follow these instructions, the inside cover challenged, "I dare you to turn the page." Pretty rough, lol. Yeah. This is the best, worst book I've ever heard of. Yeah. It's quite funny. It's quite funny. Okay, yeah. I wasn't like, I'm not meaning to make fun, but it's just so weird. It's really strange. But no one dared, or more accurately, cared. As the crowd continued to move around her, Tookie opened T-mail jail to a blank page. She closed her eyes, selected one of the dozens of coloured pens tucked into the pocket of the book's back cover, and held it in front of her face. Blue, in her colour code, was for the English language. Boring, Tookie thought. Tookie uncapped the pen, held the journal in the air over her head, and began to write to her only friend in the world. She had been missing for over 6 weeks now. Sorry, I don't know why I thought that was funny.
It was the timing of it, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Tookie feared she'd never see her again. Oh, God. Dear Lizzie, it's day 39 of my great SPLD campaign, and everyone is still ignoring me. SPLD stood for Silent Protest by Lying Down. That's just attention seeking. Why don't you just, I don't know, try talking? Between dialogues and descriptions, not even Christopher Walken could save this. Christopher Walken can save anything. Yeah. Of course he can. Good point, Bill. Okay. Silent protest by lying down, which is just attention seeking, really. Tookie pronounced it spilled. Of course she did. Talk about burying the lead. Yeah. As an oblivious classmate almost whacked Tookie's head with a rusty fencing épée, Tookie licked the tip of her pen, gripped it in her right hand, and continued to write. She wasn't a natural right-hander, but her mother had slapped her wrist so many times for writing with her left that Tookie had begrudgingly made the switch. This is her letter writing. I don't know if you can make that out. It hurts. And it hurts that you can't be here and I can't tell you this is for real. It hurts too that you disappear for weeks and I have no idea where you've gone. Girl, you're my only friend. Can't you at least tell me where you've been? Anyway, everyone is caught up in the day of discovery happening this weekend. But even if they weren't caught up in all the hoopla of the coming event, they still wouldn't see me. Perhaps I don't want them to notice me. I mean, this is spilled number 39. Why not go for the world record? 40 days of lying on this cold hallway floor, waiting for someone to speak to me. Why don't you just say hello to somebody? Like, why have you got to lie on the floor like an emo? But no one's saying a word. 40 days of being invisible. Lizzie, there must be an association that honours achievements like this. I can hear my acceptance speech now. I'd like to thank the Spilled Academy. There is nothing more beautiful than a forgetter girl being recognised by her own forgetter peers. And let's not forget my dear family. On second thought, let's. Miss you, girl. Hopefully I'll see you today. Tookie. Ha ha ha. Just lying on the floor. Imagine if you did that on the first day of school or something. Just looked like a right pranny. Right. Over the I in her name, Tookie added a tiny FG for Forget a Girl, and she really did. But before closing T-mail jail, please do an advice column. Just talk to someone. Stop laying on the floor like an emo. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I kind of did an advice column for Clash for a while, but it didn't make any sense. Because of course it didn't. Okay. She thumbed through the previous entries, admiring the rainbow of colours. Every colour represented a different language. Flamingo pink for Gaudian. I don't know what that means. Cabernet grape for Tres Gelée. Mandarin orange for Bay Jingle. And skyscraper grey for Colorion. the language spoken in the distant land of sans colour, as in without colour in French. Tookie had a knack for quickly picking up foreign languages and wrote whole letter entries in them. By the age of 11, Tookie knew 28 languages. That's mad. If you're feeling lonely, stop where you are, lay on the floor and stay in complete silence until someone talks to you. Yeah. You know it makes sense. It's what all therapists advise. 28 languages. Now at 15, she spoke nearly every world tongue. Oh, this isn't a Mary Sue at all. The nagging truth, though, was that this incredible linguistic gift of Tookie's seemed wasted. It was almost a cruel cosmic. I went into this like, I'm not going to make fun. I'm going to be really nice and that. And I can't deny it's entertaining. It is entertaining. So I'm glad that it exists. But it's a lot more balmy than I thought it would be. I mean, I thought it would be odd, but it's very odd. Okay. Why give this ability to a girl with whom no one wanted to speak? The thundering crowd in the Bangle, Bauble and Bead Institute hallway started to thin. Tookie nervously smoothed out her shorts, closed her T-mail jail, and straightened her body out of its position suggestive of traumatic injury. And then she heard the bow-legged footsteps she'd been waiting for. That's just really weird. Step, pause, step, coming her way. There was only one person at B3 who had spoken to Tookie besides Miracle. Class President Theophilus Lovelaces. The very step, pause, what? The very step, pause, figure quickly approaching. The very, okay. It had been 1 year ago, almost to the day, but Tookie hadn't forgotten it. In truth, it was why she had invented the act of spilding in the first place. There were many letters in T-mail jail written to Theophilus, all expressing unrequited admiration and affection. Tookie longed to slip one into his locker. Okay, that's an accident. But she knew she never would. A year ago, Tookie had taken a real spill, tumbling down the narrow spiral staircase to the cafeteria. All she clearly remembered about that moment was one foot touching the first step and then both enormous feet flying into the air. Oh, yeah, she's got clown feet as well, in case you don't remember. She was falling. There was the floor. Boom. Tookie had landed so hard the world had gone black for a few minutes. Spots began to appear before her eyes. Bodies swept past her, but not one person tried to help. Tookie had just lain there while the whole day continued as usual for everyone else at Bangle, Bauble and Bead Institute. But then a figure in a pinstriped jacket had appeared. Tookie's vision was still blurry, but she could make out a small, round button on the figure's lapel. Vote for love. I'm enjoying it more than I thought I would. Yes. I mean, it is entertaining, and that's all you can ask. Are you okay? Theophilus Lovelaces stood above Tookie like a royal guardsman coming to the aid of his queen. It's definitely camp, isn't it? It's very camp, and that's quite fun. The pin on his lapel was one of the good luck charms he passed out to B3 students in hopes of getting re-elected every school year. He'd never given one to Tookie, though. The noises in the cafeteria ceased to exist. Tookie was groggy from her fall. Her ears rang to the point of leaving her deaf, and her mouth felt like it had been anaesthetised. But that didn't stop her from noticing his imperfectly perfect features. Sun-kissed, light, tightly curled hair, a left cheekbone that was sharper and more defined than the right, and sympathetic golden brown eyes, the exact colour of 2 salted caramels. camp and a half. Anywho, have a meeting, but happy to drop into this fun little parenthesis in a crazy day. Cheers to all. Bye, JD. Thanks for listening to the madness. I'll see you again next week, next Wednesday at 7:30, perhaps. Tookie might find a position at a carnival or circus more suitable, but equally good luck to her. Yes. Yeah. You never know. Caramels, Tookie's favourite candy. He wore a camel-coloured suit of the finest fabric, an indication of his family's prestige. They were the wealthiest in all of Metopia, and yet he didn't carry himself with an air of privilege or self-righteousness. In fact, he chose to attend B3 over a private school on his own name. That was quite a spill. And then, amazingly, he had reached down and taken her hand. Tookie's tongue was frozen solid. She had imagined what she must look like to him, like a rag doll without most of its stuffing, and with trace lines of drool on both of her cheeks. Disgusting! It says that. After a few moments of Tookie lying there just staring, Theophilus stepped back, an apologetic look on his face. Okay, sorry. And then he had turned around and left. They hadn't talked since. Now Theophilus was fast approaching. T-10, 9, 8. Albert Talbot, the most dishevelled student at B3, walked alongside him, his unlaced shoes flapping against the hard, shiny floor. T-3 seconds. 2. Maybe Theophilus would see her today, splayed out in the spilled. Maybe he would do as he did last year, standing above her, extending his hand, asking, "Are you okay?" And then Tookie would stare into his salted caramel eyes and tell him exactly how she felt. Theophilus crossed in front of Albert and stumbled over Albert's shoelace as if it were a tripwire. His body pitched forward. Tookie reached up her arms to catch him. Unfortunately, Theophilus caught hold of an open locker and steadied himself. So she's lying on the floor, he's walking up to her, and she went like that from the floor. Have I got that right? Something plopped onto Tookie's chest, and she did half a sit-up to peer at it. Vote for love. Theophilus's button. Tookie stared at the button for a long time. Finally, she tentatively reached for it, thrilled to touch something that had recently been so close to Theophilus's skin. Tookie's hand was 2 centimetres from reaching vote for love, and then whoosh. A field hockey stick grazed her abdomen and sent the button flying across the hall. Tookie sat up fast, panicked. There love was, rolling right up to Manny Manuel's locker. They're all like Albert Talbot, Manny Manuel. Like, I don't know. It's mine. Tookie lurched to her feet and charged through the stomping crowd, nearly knocking Manny over. She scanned the floor for the button. Where is it? Where is it? Then she spied it. There, near that pair of hairy legs. The legs belonged to Abigail Good, who wore her super thick, long, wavy black hair with pride. Ooh, even from her armpits. Abigail took a... This is like a circus school, isn't it? Abigail took a step forward, and her sharp heels squished the Vote for Love button, which shot out from under her shoe. Tookie cried out in pain, as if the button were her own tender skin. Yeah, 2 references to salted caramel on trend. Yeah. Follow the love, Tookie, follow the love. Follow the love, Tookie, follow the love. A shiny boot kicked the button and sent it sailing through the stale cafeteria air right into a trash can. Tookie pursued it like a lion after a zebra. She wanted that button. It felt like the only new thing anyone had ever given her in life. Not that Theophilus had exactly given it to her, but Tookie wasn't one to quibble over semantics. She reached the trash can, took a deep breath, and plunged her hands into it. She felt slimy banana peels, congealed macaroni, and cheese, crusty heels of bread, and sticky soda cans. Oh, Tookie, this is a rock bottom moment, I feel. Finally, her fingers curled around the button, and she pulled it out with glee. The poor thing was badly damaged, dented, and slimy from its voyage. In fact, it no longer said "Vote for Love." Instead, the V and O and E of the first word were gone. The F and R of the second were totally erased. And of the last word, the L was knocked into non-existence, and the V was scratched so badly it resembled a K, but the E remained intact. A V scratched to remember. Tookie almost threw the button back into the trash before her eyes focused again, and she saw that it now spelled its own version of her. Tookie. Me, she gasped, and then she looked up. To her astonishment, Theophilus stood at her side, staring at her gunked-up hands above the trash can. He was quite short, only coming up to Tookie's chin, and there was a whisper of a bemused smile on his lips. You find what you were looking for? It was astounding, amazing, the second sentence Theophilus had ever said to her. Tookie stared at the button in her hand. Maybe she should show it to Theophilus. Look how your slogan changed into my name, she could say. Don't you think it's a sign, too? Theophilus? Tookie's and Theophilus's heads swiveled to the left. Zarpessa Zariano strolled into the hallway. With long, single-textured, bone-straight auburn hair, flawless skin that didn't need an ounce of concealer, eyelashes that required not a stroke of mascara, and a tall, lean body kissed with subtle curves, she made every head in the B3 hall whip in her direction. And just like that, whew, God, that scared me. And just like that, Tookie's heart drooped to her hand-me-up shoes, which were 2 sizes too small. Zarpessa was Theophilus's girlfriend. They'd been an item for the past 3 years. This is insane, and I'm here for it. Definitely, so am I. That's why I like Top Model. It's just insane. Don't trust him, says Bill. Yes. I don't know. Maybe not. You could be right. You're always right about Agatha Christie. There you are, Zarpessa trilled, swinging her golden-rod-hued dream bag, this year's $5,000 purse in her hand. Who's guessing that this is going to be her main rival in the thing? They're both going to go through this, whatever it is, to get to the top of the mountain, and it'll be those 2 left, I'm guessing. Don't know where I am. She glided towards Theophilus with the grace of a swan and held up a massive poster written in gold glitter pen. Zarpessa Zarino presents Theophilus Lovelaces for president. Again. This is made with real gold dust, Zarpessa boasted. My father had some to spare, and our mayor's sister's psychoanalyst's neighbour's BFF told me that posters written with precious metals like this definitely get you re-elected, she added. Theophilus turned his attention from Tookie and looked at Zarpessa. Oh, great, Zar. They'll be friends at some point, probably with the man as a way of bringing them together. Maybe. I don't know. I suppose it's possible. He unconsciously reached to the area of his chest where his Vote for Love button used to be. The empty spot made him pause for a moment, flustered. But then he kissed Zarpessa gently on the lips. It was hard for Tookie not to stare. Oh, how she wanted it to be her lips Theophilus was kissing right now. She had imagined it so many times, she and Theophilus alone together in the dry Peppertown forest, their lips moving closer, 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 and finally touching to give Tookie her first and only kiss. Zarpessa would be forgotten. Tookie would be remembered. The happy couple walked away arm in arm, leaving Tookie alone by the stinking trash can. She slipped the button into the pocket of her shorts, the fabric so tight she could feel Tookie digging into her hip. All sorts of emotions flooded through her, hope, then disappointment, then embarrassment, then shame. Even if Theophilus had spoken to her, it wouldn't have meant he wanted to know her. It would take a miracle. No, not Tookie's sister. It says that. But a real miracle, for Theophilus to notice her in the way she wanted. And for Tookie de la Creme, miracles were impossible to come by. Okay, that's the end of chapter 1. So I might continue this. Let me get a bookmark. Okay, I might continue this next Wednesday. I shall see. Thank you very much for coming. Bill says, I feel really sorry for Tookie with her eyes too far apart and her mouth 4 centimetres too wide. Yeah, I think she's going to do all right, though. I'm sure that it's not going to be too much of a hindrance. Okay, thank you very much for joining me. Tell your friends, and I'll be here next Wednesday. And yeah, that's about it, really. Thank you, and thank you, Tyra. See you Friday. I see you Friday, Bill.